Imagine a fire. It starts small, just a flicker, a spark, but if left unchecked, it consumes everything in its path. This fire, so destructive and consuming, is anger. We've all felt it, haven't we? That sudden surge of heat that makes our hearts race, our faces flush, and our words sharp. It's a universal emotion, and yet it's one that can so easily spiral out of control, leaving destruction in its wake. But what if I told you that this fire doesn't have to burn you? What if I told you that through deliberate practice and discipline, you could learn to control, even extinguish, this flame? The ancient Stoics, philosophers of enduring strength and tranquility, sought to impart wisdom on this very subject. Their teachings resonate with a profound understanding of human nature, offering timeless strategies to transcend the turmoil of anger. That I end this journey, we will explore 10 transformative habits that can help you remove anger from your life. These habits are not about suppression or avoidance, but about mastery, learning to recognize, understand, and transform anger into a force for personal growth. These practices have been drawn from the deep well of Stoic philosophy and are designed to help you cultivate a life of peace, purpose, and power. So, let us begin with the first step on this path, the habit of reflection. Habit 1. Embrace the power of reflection. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." What Seneca meant was that our most difficult moments, those when anger threatens to consume us, are precisely the moments that offer us the greatest opportunity for growth. Reflection is the first habit in this journey. It's not about looking back with regret, but rather with a discerning eye. Every time anger arises, we must ask ourselves, what triggered this? What thoughts accompanied it? What did I feel in my body? Reflecting on these questions after the moment has passed allows us to dissect our anger, to understand its roots, and ultimately, to weaken its hold on us. The power of reflection lies in its ability to turn the mirror inward. When anger arises, it often feels overwhelming, like a tidal wave crashing over us. But through reflection, we can step back and analyze this wave, where it came from, how it built up, and what it carried with it. Incorporating daily reflection into your routine is simple, yet profound. It could be as formal as journaling each evening, or as casual as taking a few moments to think quietly at the end of the day. The key is consistency. With time, this habit creates a mental space between stimulus and reaction, allowing you to approach situations with a calm, collected mind. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, was known to engage in nightly self-reflection. He would review the events of the day and consider how he could have responded better. This wasn't a practice of self-flagellation, but of self-improvement. He understood that to remove anger from his life, he had to understand it deeply. And reflection was the tool he used to achieve that understanding. Let's delve deeper into this process. Consider a recent moment when you felt anger. Perhaps it was during a heated argument, or maybe it was triggered by a small annoyance that built up over time. Take a moment to recall the details, the situation, the words exchanged, the emotions felt. Now, imagine if you could freeze that moment, like a scene in a film, and examine it from different angles. As you replay the scene in your mind, ask yourself, what exactly triggered my anger? Was it something specific that was said or done? Or was it a culmination of events? How did I interpret the situation? Was there a belief or expectation that was challenged? What were the physical sensations that accompanied my anger? Did my heart race, my breath quicken, my muscles tense? This detailed analysis is the essence of reflection. It's about breaking down the experience into its component parts so that you can understand it more fully. The more you practice this, the more you'll start to notice patterns. Perhaps you'll realize that certain situations or people consistently trigger your anger, or that your anger often stems from feelings of fear, insecurity, or a need for control. Over time, reflection allows you to develop a greater awareness of your emotional triggers. This awareness is the first step toward mastery. It's like shining a light in a dark room. Once you can see clearly, you're less likely to stumble or trip over obstacles. By regularly reflecting on your experiences of anger, you begin to demystify the emotion, reducing its power over you. Moreover, reflection is not just a tool for understanding past events. It's also a preparation for the future. When you reflect regularly, you build a mental framework that can help you navigate future situations with greater clarity and composure. You start to anticipate triggers before they escalate, allowing you to respond in a way that aligns with your values rather than reacting impulsively. So, make reflection a daily practice. Set aside time each day, whether it's in the morning, before bed, or during a quiet moment in the afternoon, to reflect on your experiences. Consider keeping a journal where you can write down your thoughts and observations. Over time, you'll find that this habit not only helps you manage anger, but also enhances your overall emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Reflection is the first step on the path to mastering anger. It's the foundation upon which all other habits are built. By understanding your anger, you take the first step toward transforming it. Habit 2. Practice deliberate breathing. Anger is a bodily response as much as it is a mental one. When we feel angry, our breath quickens, our muscles tense, and our minds race. The Stoics believe that by controlling the body, we could also control the mind. This leads us to our second habit, deliberate breathing. Deliberate breathing is more than just taking a few deep breaths. It's about controlling the rhythm of your breath to influence your mental state. In moments of anger, a deep, slow breath can interrupt the cycle of rage. It signals to your brain that the threat is over, that you are safe. Seneca, who was deeply aware of the connection between body and mind, suggested that when anger begins to swell, we should take a step back, breathe, and let our temper cool. This simple act of breathing can create the space necessary to prevent anger from escalating. Now let's explore the science behind this. When we experience anger, our body enters a state of fight or flight, a primal response designed to help us survive in dangerous situations. This response is triggered by the amygdala, a part of the brain responsible for processing emotions. The amygdala sends a signal to the hypothalamus, which in turn activates the sympathetic nervous system. This leads to the release of adrenaline and other stress hormones, which prepare the body to fight or flee. In this state, our breathing becomes rapid and shallow, our heart rate increases, and our muscles tense. These physiological changes are designed to help us respond to immediate threats, but they can also exacerbate feelings of anger, making it difficult to think clearly or act rationally. Deliberate breathing counteracts this response by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and restores a state of calm. When you take slow, deep breaths, you send a signal to your brain that it's time to relax. This helps to lower your heart rate, reduce muscle tension, and calm your mind. There are various techniques you can use. Box breathing, where you inhale, hold, exhale, and hold again in equal measures. Or diaphragmatic breathing, which engages the stomach rather than the chest. Each breath is a reminder that you are in control, that anger does not have to dictate your actions. Now let's try a simple exercise. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose, counting to 4 as you inhale. Hold the breath for 4 counts, then slowly exhale through your mouth for another 4 counts. Finally, pause for 4 counts before taking your next breath. This is known as box breathing, and it's a powerful technique for calming the mind and body. As you practice this technique, Focus on the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. Notice how your chest and abdomen rise and fall with each breath. If your mind starts to wander or if you feel a surge of anger, gently bring your attention back to your breath. The goal is to create a sense of mindfulness, a focused awareness of the present moment. With regular practice, deliberate breathing can become a powerful tool for managing anger. The next time you feel anger rising, pause and take a few deep breaths. Even just a few moments of focused breathing can help to diffuse the intensity of your emotions and give you the clarity needed to respond rather than react. Deliberate breathing is not just a technique for managing anger in the moment. It's also a preventative practice. By incorporating deliberate breathing into your daily routine, you can train your body to respond to stress and anger with calmness and clarity. Over time, you'll find that your overall stress levels decrease, and you're better able to handle challenging situations with grace. So, make deliberate breathing a part of your daily practice. Set aside time each day to focus on your breath, whether it's during meditation, yoga, or simply while sitting quietly. The more you practice, the more natural it will become, and the more you'll be able to use it to manage your emotions, including anger. Habit 3. Cultivate empathy. Empathy is often described as the ability to put oneself in another's shoes. It's a skill that allows us to understand the feelings and perspectives of others. The Stoics recognized the profound impact that empathy could have on our emotional state, particularly in diffusing anger. This brings us to our third habit, cultivating empathy. Anger often arises from a place of misunderstanding or perceived injustice. We become angry when we believe that someone has wronged us, acted unfairly, or failed to meet our expectations. But what if we could step outside of our own perspective and see the situation through the eyes of the other person? This is the essence of empathy. Empathy allows us to recognize that others, like us, are influenced by their own experiences, fears, and desires. By understanding the underlying reasons for someone's actions, we can soften our anger and respond with compassion rather than hostility. Epictetus taught that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle can be extended to how we perceive the actions of others. When we take the time to understand where someone is coming from, we can often see that their actions are not intended to harm us, but are a result of their own struggles and challenges. Let's consider a common scenario. You're driving to work and another driver cuts you off, nearly causing an accident. Your immediate reaction might be one of anger. How dare they be so reckless? But before you let that anger take hold, consider the situation from the other driver's perspective. Perhaps they are late for an important meeting, or maybe they just received some bad news and are distracted. By considering these possibilities, you create a space for empathy, which can help to diffuse your anger. Cultivating empathy requires practice and patience. It begins with active listening, really paying attention to what others are saying without immediately jumping to conclusions or formulating your own response. It also involves asking questions and seeking to understand the motivations and feelings behind someone's actions. For example, if a colleague snaps at you during a meeting, instead of reacting with anger, you might ask yourself, what might they be going through that would cause them to react this way? Could they be under stress or dealing with a personal issue? By considering these questions, you shift your focus from judgment to understanding, which can help to diffuse your anger and foster a more constructive response. The Stoics also practiced a form of empathy known as sympathia, which refers to the interconnectedness of all people. They believed that by recognizing our shared humanity, we could develop a sense of compassion and understanding for others, even those who wrong us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This practice of self-reflection can help to cultivate empathy by reminding us that we, too, are imperfect and prone to making mistakes. When we recognize our own flaws and shortcomings, we become less likely to judge others harshly and more likely to respond with understanding and compassion. Cultivate empathy in your daily life. Start by making a conscious effort to listen more and speak less. When someone is sharing their thoughts or feelings, focus on what they are saying without interrupting or immediately offering your opinion. Practice asking open-ended questions that encourage them to share more about their experiences and perspectives. Additionally, try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, especially in situations where you feel anger or frustration. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their position? What might be driving their behavior? By regularly engaging in these practices, you'll develop a greater capacity for empathy, which in turn will help you manage and reduce your anger. Empathy is not about excusing harmful behavior, but about understanding it. When you understand the reasons behind someone's actions, you can respond with greater wisdom and compassion, rather than letting anger dictate your response. Over time, this habit will not only help you manage your own anger, but also improve your relationships and interactions with others. Habit 4. Embrace impermanence. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the concept of impermanence. Everything in life, from our possessions to our relationships, is temporary. This awareness is not meant to instill fear, but rather to help us appreciate the present moment and release our attachment to things that can cause us suffering. Our fourth habit is to embrace impermanence. Anger often arises when we cling to things, whether it's our possessions, our status, or our relationships. We become angry when something threatens to take these things away from us, or when they don't meet our expectations. But the truth is, nothing in life is permanent. By accepting this, we can begin to let go of our attachment to these things, and in doing so, reduce our anger. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the transient nature of life. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't a morbid thought, but a reminder to focus on what truly matters. Rather than becoming attached to things that are fleeting, let's consider the example of a cherished possession, such as a car. You take great pride in this car. It's a symbol of your hard work and success. But one day, it's damaged in an accident. Your first reaction might be anger. Anger at the driver who hit you, at the insurance company, or even at yourself. But if you remind yourself of the impermanence of material things, you can begin to release that anger. The car was never going to last forever, and its loss, while unfortunate, is not the end of the world. The same principle applies to relationships. We often become angry when someone we care about lets us down or when a relationship ends. But if we accept that all relationships are impermanent, that people change, and that nothing lasts forever, we can begin to let go of the intense emotions that arise when things don't go as we hoped. Embracing impermanence also means letting go of the need for control. We often become angry when we feel that we are losing control of a situation, whether it's at work, in our personal lives, or in the world around us. But the truth is, control is an illusion. We can influence events, but we cannot control them. By accepting this, we can reduce our attachment to outcomes and, as a result, our anger. The Stoics practiced the art of memento mori, or the contemplation of death, as a way to remind themselves of life's impermanence. This practice was not meant to be depressing, but rather to encourage them to live fully in the present moment, free from the anger and frustration that arise from clinging to things that will eventually pass away. Embrace impermanence. Start by reflecting on the things in your life that you are attached to. Consider how you would feel if you lost them. Would you be devastated? Angry? By acknowledging these feelings and accepting that loss is a natural part of life, you can begin to release your attachment and reduce your anger. Additionally, practice gratitude for the present moment. Rather than focusing on what you might lose in the future, appreciate what you have right now. This shift in focus can help you cultivate a sense of contentment and peace, reducing the likelihood of anger arising from a fear of loss. Embracing impermanence is not about giving up on life or becoming indifferent. It's about recognizing the transient nature of all things and finding peace in that awareness. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you can begin to let go of the anger that comes from clinging to things that are beyond your control. Habit 5. Develop a strong sense of self-control. Self-control is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's the ability to govern our desires, emotions, and actions in a way that aligns with our values and principles. Without self-control, we are at the mercy of our emotions, particularly anger. Our 5th habit, therefore, is to develop a strong sense of self-control. That self-control is not about suppressing your emotions or denying your feelings. It's about managing them in a way that serves your higher purpose. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes from self-mastery, from the ability to control one's reactions rather than being controlled by them. Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This quote encapsulates the idea that self-control is essential for inner peace and freedom from anger. When we lack self-control, we become slaves to our emotions, reacting impulsively and often regretting our actions later. Developing self-control requires discipline and practice. It begins with setting clear boundaries for yourself, determining what behaviors and responses align with your values, and making a conscious effort to act in accordance with them. Even when it's difficult, let's consider a common scenario. You're in a meeting and a colleague makes a comment that you find insulting or dismissive. Your immediate reaction might be to snap back, to defend yourself, or to criticize them in return. But this reaction, driven by anger, is likely to escalate the situation rather than resolve it. In this moment, self-control is your greatest ally. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a deep breath and consider your options. What response would align with your values? How can you address the situation in a way that is constructive rather than destructive? By exercising self-control, you can choose a response that de-escalates the situation and maintains your integrity. One way to build self-control is through the practice of delayed gratification. This involves postponing immediate impulses in favor of long-term goals. For example, if you're angry and feel the urge to lash out, practice waiting. Give yourself a few moments or even a few hours before responding. This delay can help you regain your composure and respond more thoughtfully. Another technique is to establish routines and habits that reinforce self-control. For example, regular physical exercise, a healthy diet, and sufficient sleep can all contribute to better emotional regulation and greater self-control. When your body and mind are well-nourished and rested, you're better equipped to manage your emotions. Meditation and mindfulness practices can also help you develop self-control. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to remain calm and focused, even in the face of challenging situations. This mental discipline can help you maintain self-control in moments of anger, allowing you to respond in a way that aligns with your values. It's also important to recognize that self-control is not about perfection. There will be times when you slip up, when your emotions get the better of you. When this happens, don't be too hard on yourself. Instead, reflect on the experience, learn from it, and recommit to your practice of self-control. Remember, self-mastery is a journey, not a destination. Developing self-control is essential for managing anger. It empowers you to choose how you respond to situations, rather than being driven by your emotions. With time and practice, self-control becomes second nature, helping you to navigate life's challenges with grace and composure. Habit 6. Engage in regular physical exercise. The mind and body are deeply interconnected. What affects one affects the other. This is a principle that the Stoics understood well, and it's why our sixth habit is engaging in regular physical exercise. Physical exercise is not just about building muscle or improving cardiovascular health. It's also a powerful tool for managing emotions, including anger. When we exercise, our bodies release endorphins, chemicals that boost our mood and reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. This physiological response can help to diffuse anger and promote a sense of calm. But the benefits of exercise go beyond the immediate release of endorphins. Regular physical activity can improve your overall mental and emotional well-being, making you more resilient to stress and less prone to anger. When you take care of your body, you also take care of your mind. The Stoics were advocates of physical fitness. They believed that maintaining a strong and healthy body was essential for living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the importance of physical exercise, not just for the body, but for the mind as well. He understood that physical strength and mental strength were intertwined. Engaging in regular exercise can help you develop greater self-discipline, which in turn supports your practice of self-control. When you commit to a regular exercise routine, you're making a commitment to yourself, a commitment to your health, well-being, and emotional stability. There are many different forms of exercise that can help you manage anger. Aerobic exercises, such as running, swimming, or cycling, are particularly effective at releasing endorphins and reducing stress. Strength training, such as weightlifting or bodyweight exercises, can also help you release pent-up energy and build mental resilience. In addition to traditional forms of exercise, practices such as yoga and Tai Chi can be particularly beneficial for managing anger. These disciplines combine physical movement with mindfulness and breathing techniques, helping you to cultivate a sense of inner calm and balance. For example, yoga encourages you to focus on your breath and to move your body with intention and awareness. This practice of mindfulness can help you to stay present and calm, even in stressful situations. Tai Chi, with its slow, flowing movements, promotes relaxation and mental clarity, helping you to release tension and maintain emotional balance. Regular exercise also provides an opportunity to practice patience and perseverance, qualities that are essential for managing anger. When you exercise, you often have to push through discomfort or fatigue to achieve your goals. This process of overcoming physical challenges can help you build mental toughness and resilience, making you less likely to be overwhelmed by anger. Moreover, engaging in physical activity can serve as a healthy outlet for anger. When you feel anger rising, instead of letting it fester, you can channel that energy into a workout. Whether it's going for a run, hitting the gym, or practicing martial arts, exercise allows you to release that energy in a constructive way, leaving you feeling calmer and more centered. To incorporate this habit into your life, start by finding a form of exercise that you enjoy and that fits into your routine. It doesn't have to be intense or time-consuming. Even a daily walk can make a difference. The key is consistency. Regular physical activity will help you build emotional resilience and reduce the likelihood of anger taking hold. Physical exercise is a powerful tool for managing anger. It helps to release tension, boost your mood, and improve your overall emotional well-being. By making exercise a regular part of your life, you can build the physical and mental strength needed to master your emotions and live a life of peace and balance. Habit 7. Surround yourself with positive influences. The people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This is why the Stoics emphasize the importance of choosing our companions wisely. Our seventh habit is to surround yourself with positive influences. The Stoics believe that we are influenced by the company we keep. Marcus Aurelius advised, avoid fraternizing with people who are not positive influences on your life. This is because negative people can infect our minds with their negativity, causing us to become more prone to anger and frustration. Conversely, when we surround ourselves with positive influences, people who are kind, patient, and wise, we are more likely to adopt those qualities ourselves. Positive influences inspire us to rise above our base emotions and to live in accordance with our highest values. Consider your current social circle. Are there people who consistently bring out the worst in you? Perhaps they are quick to anger, prone to gossip, or constantly complaining. Spending time with such individuals can make it more difficult to manage your own emotions, including anger. On the other hand, think about the people in your life who inspire you to be better. Those who are calm under pressure, who approach challenges with grace, and who treat others with kindness and respect. These are the people who can help you cultivate the habits necessary to remove anger from your life. To surround yourself with positive influences, start by assessing your current relationships. Are there individuals who consistently drain your energy or provoke negative emotions? If so, it may be time to reconsider the amount of time you spend with them. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but rather setting boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. Seek out relationships that uplift and support you. Look for people who share your values and who inspire you to grow. These might be mentors, friends, or even acquaintances who embody the qualities you aspire to cultivate. By spending more time with positive influences, you can begin to internalize their behaviors and attitudes, making it easier to manage your own emotions. It's also important to consider the influence of the media you consume. The books you read, the shows you watch, and the content you engage with online all have an impact on your mindset. If you're constantly exposed to negativity, whether it's through news, social media, or entertainment, it can fuel feelings of anger and frustration. To counteract this, make a conscious effort to consume positive, uplifting content. Read books that inspire and challenge you. Watch shows that promote kindness and understanding, and engage with content that encourages personal growth. By filling your mind with positive influences, you create a mental environment that is less susceptible to anger. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is not just about avoiding negativity. It's about actively seeking out the people and experiences that help you become the best version of yourself. By doing so, you create a support system that empowers you to manage your emotions and live a life of peace and purpose. Habit 8. Practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for removing anger from your life. It's also one of the most challenging. The Stoics understood that holding on to anger and resentment harms us more than it harms those who have wronged us. Our eighth habit, therefore, is to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that nothing happened. Rather, it's about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. When you forgive, you release the hold that anger has on you, allowing you to move forward with a sense of peace. Seneca wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." This is a reminder that the act of holding onto anger can cause more harm than the original offense. By practicing forgiveness, you release yourself from this harm and reclaim your peace of mind. Forgiveness can be difficult, especially when the hurt is deep or when the person who wronged you shows no remorse. But forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. It's about letting go of the anger that is weighing you down and choosing to live a life of peace. To begin practicing forgiveness, start by acknowledging your feelings. It's important to recognize the pain and anger that you feel before you can move towards forgiveness. Give yourself permission to feel these emotions, but don't let them control you. Next, try to understand the situation from the other person's perspective. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior, but rather trying to see the situation through their eyes. What might have driven them to act the way they did? What fears, insecurities, or challenges might they be facing? This practice of empathy can help to soften your anger and make forgiveness more accessible. It's also helpful to reflect on times when you have wronged others, whether intentionally or unintentionally. How did you feel in those situations? Did you hope for forgiveness? By recognizing your own imperfections, you can cultivate a sense of compassion for those who have wronged you. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a process. It may take time, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself as you work through your feelings. You may need to forgive the same person multiple times as new feelings of anger arise. Each time you choose to forgive, you strengthen your ability to let go of anger. In some cases, you may choose to communicate your forgiveness to the person who wronged you. This can be a powerful step in the healing process, but it's not always necessary. Forgiveness is ultimately about your own peace of mind, and you can choose to forgive someone in your heart without ever speaking to them. Remember, forgiveness does not mean forgetting or allowing others to continue hurting you. It's about releasing the anger that is keeping you stuck in the past and preventing you from living fully in the present. By practicing forgiveness, you free yourself from the chains of anger and open the door to a life of peace and emotional freedom. Habit 9. Meditate on your mortality. The Stoics were known for their practice of memento mori, or the meditation on mortality. This habit might seem morbid at first glance, but it is one of the most effective ways to remove anger and live a life of peace and purpose. Our 9th habit is to meditate on your mortality. The Stoics believe that reflecting on the impermanence of life could help us gain perspective on our problems and reduce the intensity of our emotions, including anger. When we recognize that our time on earth is limited, we are less likely to waste it on negative emotions and more likely to focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This reflection is not meant to induce fear, but to remind us of the preciousness of life. When we meditate on our mortality, we are reminded that life is too short to be spent in anger and resentment. Consider a situation that has made you angry, perhaps a disagreement with a friend or a frustrating experience at work. Now imagine that today is your last day on earth. Would this situation still matter to you? Would you still choose to hold on to your anger? Or would you let it go in favor of spending your remaining time in peace and harmony? Meditating on your mortality can help you gain clarity on what is truly important. It encourages you to let go of petty grievances and focus on the relationships, goals, and values that bring meaning to your life. When you remember that life is fleeting, it becomes easier to release anger and choose compassion and understanding instead. One way to practice this habit is to set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on the impermanence of life. You might do this through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting quietly and contemplating the fact that one day you will no longer be here. This practice can help you develop a sense of urgency and purpose, motivating you to live each day to the fullest. Another approach is to remind yourself of your mortality in moments of anger. When you feel anger rising, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? How would I feel about this situation if I knew I had only a short time left to live? This reflection can help to diffuse your anger and bring you back to a place of calm. The goal of meditating on your mortality is not to make you fearful, but to help you live with greater intention and peace. By remembering that life is temporary, you can free yourself from the grip of anger and focus on what truly matters. This habit can help you cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for each moment, reducing the likelihood of anger taking hold. In summary, meditating on your mortality is a powerful practice for managing anger. It reminds you of the preciousness of life and encourages you to let go of negative emotions that detract from your peace and happiness. By incorporating this habit into your daily routine, you can live with greater clarity, purpose, and emotional freedom. Habit 10. Practice daily gratitude. Gratitude is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and a powerful antidote to anger. By focusing on what we have, rather than what we lack, we can cultivate a sense of contentment and reduce the likelihood of anger taking hold. Our 10th and final habit is to practice daily gratitude. The Stoics believe that happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from within, from our ability to appreciate what we have and to live in accordance with our values. Gratitude is a practice that helps us develop this inner contentment. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This quote reflects the Stoic belief that happiness and peace of mind come from appreciating the present moment, rather than constantly striving for more. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus away from what is wrong or missing in our lives, and instead recognize the good that is already present. This shift in perspective can help to diffuse anger and promote a sense of peace and contentment. Let's consider a situation where you might feel angry. Perhaps a friend canceled plans with you at the last minute. Instead of focusing on the disappointment or frustration you feel, try to shift your focus to gratitude. What are you grateful for in this situation? Perhaps you're grateful for the free time to relax or to do something you enjoy. Or maybe you're grateful for the friendship itself, despite this minor setback. Practicing daily gratitude doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing negative emotions. It's about balancing those emotions with a recognition of the positive aspects of your life. By regularly acknowledging the good in your life, you build a mental habit of focusing on the positive, making it less likely that anger will take root. One way to practice gratitude is to keep a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few moments to write down 3 things you're grateful for. These can be small, everyday things: a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture from a stranger, or a delicious meal. Over time, this practice can help you develop a more positive outlook and reduce the likelihood of anger taking hold. You can also practice gratitude in the moment, especially when you feel anger rising. When you encounter a situation that triggers anger, pause and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for right now? This simple question can help to shift your focus away from the source of your anger and towards something positive. Gratitude is not just about feeling good. It's a powerful tool for transforming your mindset and reducing negative emotions. By making gratitude a daily habit, you can cultivate a sense of contentment and peace that makes it easier to manage anger and live a life of emotional balance. Conclusion: removing anger from your life is not about suppressing your emotions or becoming indifferent. It's about cultivating habits that allow you to respond to life's challenges with wisdom, compassion, and understanding. By practicing these 10 Stoic habits: mindful awareness, rational perspective, empathy, embracing impermanence, self-control, regular physical exercise, surrounding yourself with positive influences, forgiveness, meditating on mortality, and daily gratitude, you can develop the inner strength and resilience needed to master your emotions and live a life of peace and purpose. Remember, The journey towards removing anger is a lifelong practice. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way, but with patience and persistence, you can transform your relationship with anger and cultivate a life of greater peace and fulfillment.